Please.
Hello, ladies. Welcome to Boss Please. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Great. Love that.
Yeah.
So we have a great episode, another one for you. We have writer, blogger, relationship extraordinaire Bruna Nessif on the show today.
Holla.
But before we get to her, I want to know how y'all were a boss this week. Meghan?
I was a boss this week because, you guys, I'm kind of excited. You know, I've talked to you guys about me getting my real estate license. I'm in the process. But I figured while I'm in the process, why not already start meeting with brokers, people that can potentially hire us? So I sent out a bunch of emails and I received 2 and they both want to meet with me. So I had 2 meetings yesterday and they were both like, yeah, we love you. Like, as soon as you get your license, come on board. I'm like, hell yeah.
Talk about making it happen. Nobody could ever call you lazy, Meghan.
I try, you guys. I try real hard.
No, that's great.
But yeah, no, I was really excited about that. So I feel pretty boss right now. I'm kind of still on a high about it. How about you, Malynda?
I started to book my tour for next year.
A tour?
Boss.
I tour all the time, but this is going to be a more extensive one, and I'm mostly doing it by myself. Me and a piano. I haven't done a tour like that before, so it's nerve-wracking. It's a lot of work, but
it'll be
somebody's
great.
going to do it.
And Jill?
So I was a boss this week because I checked a big mark off my to-do list. I got my car washed.
Heck yeah.
And I actually have a funny story about it. So like whatever, I got my car washed and probably like a couple days later, I was in a huge parking structure and I lost my car because it was so clean.
You are
That's
hysterical.
funny.
I walked past my car like 3 or 4 times. Like, I don't know where my car is. I'm starting to freak out. I'm like texting my boyfriend like, hey, like, I can't remember like, did I like tell you what level I parked on? Whatever. Of course, like this is just like typical me. But yeah, my car was so clean that I lost it.
That is
So
really
now we need to
hysterical.
address how dirty it was.
Oh, it was real bad. Like I let it get. My car was crying for help.
You have a white car.
I have a white car.
So
Yeah,
it was
my Prius
gray.
is white, so
yeah,
I
have a white
feel
car
you.
as well. I think it's a very California thing to have white cars. But
so I was like, God damn, like
you know, a lot of our cars got a lot really dirty because of the ash. There was a big fire happening.
Yeah.
So you know,
I just think mine was dirty because I'm lazy. I don't know.
No,
I don't
want
want to blame it on some
And it
fires.
gets to that point where it's like embarrassing to drive around. You're like, this is ridiculous.
I thought people were gonna start like writing in the back of my car, like "Help me." I always see that when I'm
is
driving.
really
Poor
funny.
little car.
Well, I'm glad your car is clean now.
Anyway, clean car, all set. So, real talk this week. I think it's a pretty important one. How do you find the right partner that supports your girl bossness?
I'm gonna take a note from you two because I'm the single one over
Well,
here.
Melinda, you're married, so let's start with you.
I am married to a wonderful man that has nothing to do with music. That's how he's the perfect partner. Yeah, I mean, even before dating people that were in the same field as me, it just didn't work. There's always, no matter what, going to be competition. There just is. But John respects what I do, and he likes having someone, he said, that is involved in the arts because he's not. So it gives him kind of an escape from his business world, which I love and I think is adorable. But he's supportive. He doesn't understand music, but he appreciates it. So that's great. So sometimes, because I'll write a song, he'll be like, that's great. And I'm like, it actually is terrible, but thanks, babe.
Aww.
You know, but sometimes he has an opinion. But I don't know. I just think if you have someone that respects and understands what you do, but isn't trying to compete with you, then they're going to be a perfect partner.
I also think you two are the perfect partners because
thank you.
your business, you guys are actually in business together, and because of his law background and obviously because of your arts, you make the perfect team for a business.
Right.
And I've seen you both work together.
Yeah.
And John, bless his heart, he's so funny. Like, even though he's there and part of JMV Entertainment, you are
Run it.
the Monica.
Yeah.
Like we were just talking about.
He's the Chandler to my Monica.
Yes.
For sure.
Oh my gosh, he's the best. I love John so much.
I love that.
How about you, Jill?
Well, a mentor actually told me something before I had met my boyfriend, who now we've been together for almost 5 years. And he said there are 2 types of people in this world. There are samurais and there are civilians. And it's okay if you're a civilian. Civilians usually end up with other civilians. They're okay with the status quo. They're okay with doing things with a rhythm. However, if you're a samurai, you are compatible with another samurai. So somebody that is just as passionate about things as you, somebody that is just as supportive, somebody that doesn't get jealous and you cheer each other on. So I've always thought about that philosophy. So I found my samurai because he is also a boss in his own right. He's an assistant director, hopefully a director, fingers crossed.
Of course he will be, yeah.
Yeah, it'll happen. So with my support. And I think that's really what matters. You know, we're not competing for anything, and we can both be supportive of each other and really cheer on each other's victories, and then be there for each other when we have those low moments, because even if you're a samurai, you have a low moment.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, you two are really adorable, and definitely like samurai 100%.
Well, Meghan, like, what do you look for in a partner?
Well, clearly not the right things, because here I am. But no, I've taken a lot of advice from you, Malynda, and also you, Jill, whether I actually listen to you or not. Then I come crying.
Free advice that's not being listened to.
But I have found my biggest mistake is I am actually dating people, or I have dated people in the past. Like, no, I'm like, it's ended well, you know, it's fine, but they didn't match my ambition.
Yeah.
And I do need someone, it doesn't need to be in the same field, but I do need someone that's going to be just as much of a go-getter, aka samurai, like Jill was just talking about.
Absolutely.
And I haven't been finding them because I find I'm also a very nurturing type. And I think I attract the guys that almost need help, or they need guidance. And that's kind of what I find attractive, because I'm like, I don't want to fix.
Well, do you feel like you're a savior?
I'm kind of like a fixer.
Do you feel like you're a fixer savior type?
I don't want to be, but I feel like that's what I attract, because that's just my personality, my nature. Instead of realizing what I deserve and seeing I need someone equal to me, I'm almost like I get fulfilled by helping someone else. But it's not what I need romantically. It's not what I need in a partner.
Right.
It's a temporary fix, if you will.
I always say, like, whenever you talk to me about relationship stuff, it's just a constant, you have to match your drive. You have to meet somebody that has just as much drive, has the same, like, constant flight mode that you're in. Like, you don't slow down for anybody, and you're not a quitter at anything. So if you can match that, then I think you found him.
My only other problem besides that, and this is probably another topic for another day, maybe requires some therapy on my part, but I have major trust issues, and that's my other thing, and that's how I sabotage a lot of relationships, because I don't trust men as far as I can throw them. And I know it's really sad, because I see a really good guy in John, I see a really good guy in Seamus, and I know that they are stand-up guys, but for some reason, any guy that comes into my life, I automatically, like, put up a red flag. Even though they haven't given me really any reason.
But I think, unfortunately, that's also LA dating culture.
Yeah.
You know, you're not the only person I've heard that from.
And it's not to say that if you are a girl boss that you have to have a partner, you know, that in that way. You know, there are other partnerships. There are business partnerships that are really amazing. There are also a ton of girl bosses that don't have a man or woman in their life. And that's okay, because as long as they're okay with it and they're thriving and they have the support coming from other places, that's okay too.
100%.
So yeah, you know, like it really depends on what you need at that moment to help you sort of
in a way I feel like
person.
The universe has been preventing me from meeting that right person, because I am such a hopeless romantic that I'm afraid when I do find that person, I don't want to lose any of my girl bossness.
Right.
So I do think it's important for me to focus right now on my career. I'm not closing the door to a potential relationship, but I don't think I really need to be looking for it and swiping left and right all day, every day till my thumb falls off on freaking Tinder and Bumble. Kind of just like take a step back and be like, all right, it will come when it's time to come.
Right.
So. Well, I think that our guest on today's show is going to have a lot to tell you.
Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
So we will be right back with Bruna. Welcome back, everyone. So we have an entrepreneur, a jack of all trades in our studio today. Her name is Bruna Nessif, and she recently left the world of pop culture and corporate America to grow her personal brand, The Problem with Dating. And let me tell you, she has had some problems with dating. So it's a juicy website. She has started that to start a conversation on modern dating through vulnerable and witty storytelling. And she also writes for Cosmo. She had an article that went viral about her abstaining from sex for a year.
A little longer than a year now. But
well, that's Bruna, guys. So since we mentioned that Cosmo article, tell us a little bit about that and the moment that you realized, holy crap, this is like being picked up everywhere.
Right. Okay, so what month are we? What year are we in? So about a year and 8 months ago, not like anyone's counting, I realized that I had gone a year without sex, which was intentional. The last guy I was talking to, it was like one of those fuzzy gray situationships where he liked me, I liked him, but he wasn't ready for a relationship, and I tried to tell myself that's fine and still do all of the relationship type stuff. And then that just made me feel icky because I was like, well, just had sex with a guy that I don't even know if he's going to text me back, and that doesn't feel good. So I told myself, okay, I'm taking sex off the table, not just with this guy, but in general, because I need to stop feeling like I'm supposed to give a guy sex in order for him to stick around or to make that seem like a privilege or, you know, just expected. So I was like, I'm not going to have sex until I get some commitment. And that is taking quite a while. And so I'm still there. But I got to the year mark and I was like, I should write about this. Like, this is interesting. And so I drafted something up and I was going to put it on theproblemwithdating.com and just kind of make it like any other post. But I had not written about sex before, like my personal sex life. And so I was like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I need to do it right. And I need to do it in a way, not to sound any type of way, but I was like, I'm not putting this out for free.
Right.
And when I say for free, I don't mean just like monetary. I mean, like, I already put so much of my personal life out there that something like this, I don't think should just be given to whoever. And so I was like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it in a way that also helps me and the brand. So I pitched it to Cosmo. I had an editor's contact information. I said, hey, I wrote this story about not having sex for a year. I think it would be really great for your audience, and I would love to send it over if you're interested. And they emailed right away, and they're like, yeah, send it over. And so we went through some revisions because I wrote it initially for my website, and my website, you know, I know that audience, and they know the past, and
They know you.
Yeah, so I didn't really have to explain too much for them, but this is a completely new audience, so I had to kind of go back in and add the details that were missing. And about maybe 3 months later, they published it online, and she told me, she was like, okay, this is going to go live tomorrow. And it was still kind of like, okay, cool. Like, I didn't think anything of it. And then the next day, I started getting the messages and stuff from people like, oh my gosh, I saw you on Cosmo, and oh my gosh, you're not having sex, and like, oh my gosh, all this stuff. And I was like, oh gosh, it's like out. And so I looked at it, and, you know, I sent them the photos to use, which were kind of risque and racy and sexy. And I did that on purpose because I didn't want someone to read this story and then paint a picture of, oh, well, a woman who's not having sex probably looks like this.
Totally.
And it's like, no, first of all, a woman who's not having sex can look like anything. And second of all, just because I'm not having sex doesn't mean I'm relinquishing my sexuality.
Right.
I still am a woman. I still want to feel sexy. I still am sexy. I'm just choosing not to have sex. So I purposefully like gave them that picture, which caused a little bit of interesting comments from certain people too.
Of course.
Yeah, everyone has something to say.
Of course, yeah.
But even then, it was kind of like, oh man, everyone knows about my sex life. And then maybe like 2 days later, I woke up to my phone just blowing up to the point where I was like, oh my gosh, did I tweet something that someone got pissed off about?
Yeah.
You know, I just get like so worried because I used to work in the entertainment industry, and anytime I would write a story about someone with a huge fandom that they didn't like, I would just, my Twitter would blow up with just like hate messages. So I just get really like antsy anytime I see a big notification number. But it was because Cosmo put the story on their Discover page, and I didn't know they were going to do that. So if you went to the Discover page, my racy picture was all blown up, and it said, I haven't had sex in a year, and here's why.
Swipe up.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And so I was getting like screenshots, and I was like, oh my God. And so I went to Snapchat, and I was like, oh, it's really there. Then I checked Instagram, and I had over 100 DMs, and my email was blowing up. My Twitter was on fire, but it was, I would say, like 98% men and women just praising it and being
That's
very
awesome.
kind.
Wow. That's
and,
awesome.
Amazing.
And being very like grateful, saying that no one talks about this and I'm in the same boat and I'm also doing this, and it's so great that there's a woman able to like tell them that she's not just gonna have sex with whoever because we're in this hookup culture and and some people misconstrued the message a little bit and were like, you know, yeah, no single woman should have sex if she's not married, or you know, whatever. And I was like, that's not really what I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, whatever anyone's belief is, that's fine. And that was the biggest part that I had to kind of reiterate is I'm not coming out here and telling you don't have sex if you're not together. If you can have sex with someone casually and it's healthy and you're not hurting yourself, go for it. I wish I could. I would be out here doing it all the time.
Yeah.
But I can't. And I had to be aware of that and tell myself, like, Bruna, why are you doing this? It makes you feel like a bad word. I don't know if I'm allowed to say.
Oh, totally. If you want to say it. We say everything on here.
Shit? Okay.
Yeah. Of course.
Fine. Yeah.
I wanted to say it like 12 times and I kept catching myself.
You're
I was
fine.
like,
You're fine.
Bruna, stop it. Be a lady. Yeah, so it makes me feel like shit. And so I was, you know, I had to be honest with myself. But by in no means am I like trying to suppress women's sexuality. Right. I'm a very big fan of that. I think women should empower their sexuality, if anything. But part of that is also stepping away from being sexual. You know, everyone's like, oh, a strong woman embracing her sexuality doesn't always mean that it's a woman out here being extremely sexually active. It can be. That's one form, but there's also something to say about women who are choosing to do the opposite. That's still empowering in a sexual nature too.
I can relate deeply to everything you're saying. I'm living the single life too. And I think I'm just in utter awe that like I feel like I need to now do this, because when you do open the door to sex, it does something like it allows you to be vulnerable. And like a guy has a way of being like unattached, but for a woman it does make you feel like something. Even you're trying to play it cool, like that's where I'm at right now. Like I think I'm trying to play the cool girl, but like it kills me on the inside.
Yeah it just feels so gross.
It feels so gross.
It does.
Oh my gosh.
In writing that article, is that the biggest or deepest level of vulnerability that you've reached with your writing in an audience? Because it takes a lot to put that out there to such a big audience.
I would probably say yes. It's between that, and I wrote a story for my website once about my last relationship, which he's an alcoholic, so it was the first time I wrote about that. But they're both definitely extremely vulnerable on different platforms. You know, one's talking about substance abuse and dealing with that, and one's obviously about sex, which the sex one is just a little more risky in the sense of I am a woman, I'm a young woman, I'm already sexualized just for being a woman. And then to talk about your sex life openly, whether it's, you know, active or not, people form different ideas and will place, you know, stereotypes on you and whatever. So it's hard for any woman, I think, to just talk about sex in general. But there's something about me, and I don't know what it is, that I just don't care.
No, that's amazing.
I really don't. I'm just like, I feel good about this. I told my mom before, you know, I'm writing this story. It's about this. It's going to go up. And she's just like the best. She's very supportive. And she's always like, Bruna, I know you're not going to write anything crazy. Just do whatever you have to do.
Do what you feel, right?
Yeah. And so if she's cool and I'm cool, I don't really care about anyone else. So
yeah.
So I want to talk about your transition from corporate life to freelance. What was the thought process into that? Because you had stability and you chose instability almost.
Right.
So,
which is so unlike me.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Bruna for years, and I've always known her to have this like amazing steady job. And when she actually told me she was leaving that world to just do her thing, I was super proud, but also very surprised.
Yeah, most of my friends were surprised and really worried. Like they would just bombard me with questions like, well, how are you going to eat? Are you going to be able to pay bills? Do you need a place to stay? What are you going to do? This really stresses me out, Bruna. And I'm like, I'm not even stressed. You need to not be stressed. But it's sweet. You know, they care. That process was a very long one. It's something that I sat on and thought about for years because I am someone who loves stability, and because I was, you know, in a place where I was very blessed to have a great job at a company that a lot of people want to work for, and I did my job well. I was never in a situation where I was like, oh God, am I going to get fired? Or no, like I knew I pulled my weight. I got along with everyone. I did a good job. But somewhere along the road, because this was like around 7 years of me doing this, I just got over it, you know? And when I created the problem with dating, at first it was, I don't want to say a hobby because I took it seriously, but it was, you know, I did it whenever I could. It wasn't a thing where I was like, well, today I'm doing this. It was like, no, I have to do my job. And then if I have some time, I'm going to write about the things that happened to me. And then along the way, I was like, why does this feed me more than the job that pays to feed me? And so it was just like, I had to really be honest with myself, and I started feeling resentment when I would go into work because I'm sitting at my desk and I have to write stories that I don't give a shit about, and like, you know, getting stressed about situations and stories I have to do with people I don't even know, will never know, have no effect on my life, yet they cause me stress and do all this other stuff. And so I was just like, I'm gonna leave. And I kept asking the universe for signs because I was so nervous. And I was like, okay, is this possible? Can I do this? I need a plan. Because even if I'm going to step into instability, you know, I'm going to have like a plan A, B, C, D.
Yes, you are.
Mm-hmm. And so the first thing I looked at was, you know, money, obviously, because I was like, well, can I survive? And I was blessed to have a mother who was very financially savvy and really drilled into my mind the power of saving and being smart with my money, something that they should teach in schools, but they don't.
Amen.
And so, you know, I was doing well in that sense. You know, I'd saved for a long time because I wanted to buy a home. And luckily I didn't go through with that. And I feel like that was all part of the plan.
Right.
You know, if I had a mortgage, there was no way I would do this.
Sure.
Because I would be freaked out by my payments. You know, if I was in a relationship with someone, I don't know that I would do this. If I had children, I for sure wouldn't do this. So it was just like, I'm at a place in my life where if I'm going to be risky, this is the time to do it because it's not going to affect anyone else but me. And once I realized that I had enough money to kind of help me for a little bit until I can start generating my own money, then I was like, what? Like, literally, I have nothing to lose, and so I just need to do it. It was a matter of not being scared, which is scary.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm so mesmerized.
I
Like
know,
right
I
now,
know.
I'm like, I just keep talking. Like I don't even have any questions. Like just keep telling me about your life.
I know. I feel like I'm talking so much.
No,
it's great.
I'm fascinated.
I'm like kind of sick, so if I sound a little, you know, I'm hoping it's like my Phoebe sexy sick
It's just,
Yeah,
it's
it is.
just
It's
the
a
sexy
sexy
voice.
voice.
It's
Okay,
just the
good.
sexy
I'm trying to
voice.
sip on this
fine.
water. I'm like, oh God, don't sound like Courtney monotone. Crazy.
So since you've started this freelance life and you're working in your home and you're getting sent out on really cool assignments, how do you balance all of that? Like, how do you take time for work and for personal life when your space is all one?
That's honestly one of the hardest things that I've had to learn, and I'm still learning. The easy thing about when you're in corporate and you have a job is they give you your hours. Even if it's a job like the one that I did where technically you have hours, but you're working around the clock anyway, you still know, like, okay, roughly from this time to this time, I'm focusing on this, and all the other time I can do whatever. In this sense, it was literally like, oh my God, I have to create my own schedule. But not only do I have to create it, I have to stick to it. And that's been tough. But I just had to figure out a system that was like, okay, if I try to wake up around this time every day, I can dedicate this many hours to work on this. And then from this time to this time, I'm going to go hiking, or I'm going to do yoga, or I'm going to do something. And then from this time to this time, it was one of those.
Yeah.
Did it work? No, not always. But I'm very good at trying to stay balanced because, you know, everything's interconnected. So if I'm burnt out or if I'm not feeling well, my work's not going to be well. So I knew that, like, I needed to make myself a priority as much as it was a priority to find clients and make money. And so I got really stern with, like, my boundaries. That was a big thing. Because some clients will text you, email you, whatever, at midnight and just be like, hey, can you do this? And it's like, no, it's midnight.
Good for you.
Yeah, you have to. So I was
It's a part of being a boss.
Yeah, it's a
Absolutely.
boss move.
boss,
Absolutely.
please. So I was like, listen, if you want to talk business with me, schedule a meeting. I'm available from this time to this time. Don't feel privileged enough to text me 24 hours a day. You don't pay me that much to have that privilege. You will never pay me that much because there's no amount of money that would give you that type of access to my life. So once I was able to tell myself, like, no, Bruna, you're not being a bitch, you're being smart, then I was able to kind of set those boundaries. And honestly, I feel like people respect you more when you do that, because if you give them a chance to walk over you, they will, and they'll do it consistently.
Yeah.
So it's been tough, and it's still a learning process, but I'm getting better, I hope.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I kind of want to get back into the dating thing because I feel like I have so much to learn from you.
Well, actually, she just went on a trip
Okay.
to Jamaica.
Oh.
And she went to a hedonism resort.
What is that?
Explain it to the group, since I know all about the trip.
So hedonism is, okay, well, the resort is hedonism too. It's in Negril, Jamaica. Negril is very famous for its 7 Mile Beach. It's a beautiful area. Hedonism itself is a like pleasure seeking lifestyle. So basically, do whatever you want with whoever you want, whenever you want, wherever you want, whatever.
If y'all could see Megan's face right now.
She saw the light. That's what she saw.
I was like,
what?
Tell me more.
So it's been around for like 30 years, and like the resorts. And so it used to be very famous for like swinger couples. So couples would go and meet other people there and, you know, engage in whatever it is they want to do, whether it be on the beach, in the pool, in the room. No, yeah.
I'm like blushing. I'm intrigued. And I'm
In
like,
front of
what is-
people.
oh my gosh. I'm literally getting red right now, you guys.
Way too much
This
for
is
me.
so interesting. Okay,
But
keep going.
you were sent there on assignment.
Yeah. So
Yeah. I figured.
I just went there to watch, you know? No, after my Cosmo article went out, it created so much buzz, and it opened a lot of doors. One of those doors being contact with a wonderful PR company, Diamond PR, based in Miami. And she reached out and emailed me and told me that she read the article and she read my website and she loved it. And she was wondering if I would be down to visit one of their resorts in Jamaica and write something about it. And at first I was like, what? Yes. Like, what do you mean? This is like one of my biggest dreams, to be sent somewhere, to travel, you know, just for my work, you know, for my skill. So when she said hedonism, I was like, I don't even know what the hell that is. So I Googled it, and I was like, what is this? I was literally so confused, because she obviously knew about my Cosmo article, which clearly states I'm not having sex.
Right.
Yet she wants to send me to this seeming sex resort. And I was like, what exactly? Like, are they trying to put me in temptation to see if I'll crack? Like, I don't know what's going on. So I emailed her back. I was like, this is amazing. I would love to learn more, but I just want to make sure you're aware I'm still not having sex. So I'm not sure what the angle is. And she was actually very fond of my confusion, because she was like, no, I totally get it. And she's like, I just want you to go to show that it's not just about sex there. Like, you can do whatever you want. If you want to go and just tan naked, because it's like, you know, clothing optional. If you want to tan naked, read a book, do whatever you want to do, go for it. Like, by all means, we know you're not having sex. That's not why we're sending you. And basically, they wanted to let people know, especially people my age, that there is a place out here in Jamaica. It's beautiful, all inclusive, and it's
Literally.
not what it's painted. Yeah, but it's not what it's painted to be. It's not just like everyone who goes there are just like sex addicts that want to like do it with everyone all the time. You can go there just to enjoy the amenities and to like maybe gain some body positivity, be naked and you know, embrace yourself, which is kind of what I did, because I'm not having sex, but I did get naked, and that was pretty cool. I was like, look at me, just like chilling and nothing.
That's a boss move, though. I don't know if I could do that.
And then she wrote about it, and then she shared it with her followers and her website and everything. So, like,
And I posted a naked picture on Instagram.
fully exposed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for you.
I
But
have to
artsy
ask.
naked.
I have to ask.
Ask me.
How often did you get propositioned?
Okay, see,
Yes,
here's the thing. I was scared shitless the day
Imagine.
before I went. So they told me, you know, you can invite a guest, you can bring someone with you, we'll pay for their stay, but not their airfare. I asked a few people. No one had that kind of cash just laying around to be like, I'm going to fly to Jamaica, which is understandable. But that made me very nervous, because I was like, shit, am I down to go by myself? And so I kept thinking about it. And of course, my mom was freaking out, and she was like, oh my gosh, Bruna, no, please take someone. Don't go by yourself. Da, da, da. And I was just like, oh my God, am I going to give up this trip to Jamaica? And I remember I passed by my desk at my place, and I had pinned an old like bucket list I'd written. It was supposed to be just for a summer. Didn't get through everything, so I just kept it because I was like, well, I'll knock these out someday. And the number 2 thing I wrote was travel alone. So I was like, okay.
I just got goosebumps.
Yeah.
I was like, here's my opportunity to travel alone, knock something off my bucket list, and it's not even on my dime. So it's like, there's really no reason, and you don't let like the fear of what could happen, stop you. So I told her, I'm going by myself. She booked everything for me. Still scared shitless. Like the day before when I was packing, I was like, oh my God, please, like, don't let anything happen to me. Mainly because, the traveling alone is kind of frightening itself, but I didn't know what to expect when I got there. And I was like, oh my God, I told her, I was like, if any guys get aggressive or grabby, I will break their arm. Yeah, I'm not going to feel bad. And I'm going as press. So if shit goes down, I'm going to write about it.
Yeah.
She was like, no, I'm confident. Nothing's going to happen. And there was going to be a group of people going down there, other journalists and stuff covering, because I was supposed to go cover the resort, but also I was competing in a jerk chicken cook-off. So we were all competing against each other.
In a jerk-off.
Yeah.
Oh, funny.
I've been single for how long? When it comes to jerking, I know my shit. So the day before, I remember I was so nervous, so I prayed, and I was just like, please, like, guide me and protect me and let me enjoy this trip for what it's meant to be. Don't let me be afraid and all this stuff. And then literally right after, I was checking Instagram, and I saw the flyer that they created for the cook-off, and 2 of my friends were being sent on the same trip. So I was like, oh my God, started a text thread. And I was like, you guys are going to Jamaica too? And they're like, yeah, are you? And I was like, yes. So instantly it was like relief. Because if anything, I at least knew 2 people there
Right.
who would be down, hopefully, to have my back. No, they would. So that made me feel better. And then when I got there, somehow I ended up with 2 extra days than everyone else. So I got there a day early and left a day later. And the first day when I was by myself, I was like laying by the beach. And I met a lovely young, well, I don't know if he's young, but a lovely man named Shellboy. And he literally would walk up and down the beach selling shells that he would get from the water, and also some recreational things if you wanted to partake. And so he was very nice.
Was he naked?
No, he was clothed. Well, so there's like a nude side and a prude side. So at that time, I was in the prude side. I was like, I'm not ready for all that shit yet. Right. I'm going to keep my bathing suit on and just lay by the water. And so he kept walking by, bought a shell off of him, and he would like leave me flowers. And I was like, that's nice. But then he came over and he was like, oh, can I take you for a swim later? And he like went to shake my hand and did the whole like finger rub in the palm.
No, he didn't.
And I was like, wait a second, I know what that means. And so I was like, oh, Shellboy, no, thank you. And then he was very nice about it. He was like, okay, no pressure, no rush, it's all love. And I was like, okay. And honestly, other than that, no one really tried anything, which is what surprised me. I was very ready to fight someone.
Yeah.
Like even just out here as a woman, you always have to have your guard up. You don't know what guys' intentions are. You don't know who's going to flip on you if you say no. So I was ready, but luckily I didn't have to do anything. I did meet, couples and guys who seemed interested, but they never made any sort of move. They never tried to touch me. They never tried to be aggressive. They never explicitly said, let's have sex. So I was just like, I'm chilling. Like, I'm not going to give you any reason to think I would want to. Mm-hmm. And if you do, then I'm just going to tell you no, and that's that. And so that made me feel better. It wasn't too crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Isn't it strange, though, how when something like that is, like, kind of on the table in a resort like that everything is just kind of
the way
it's supposed to be.
Yeah. It's 2 prongs. So one thing is, like, is it the fact that it's not so taboo and crazy that people don't feel a need to act out and be aggressive about it because it's not a big deal? And also, it was mostly older people. Like, older people.
Got it.
So that was the one thing that I was like, if people my age were open to coming to a place like this, they would have so much fun. That's not even like, we had a toga foam party one night. We took a yacht out another day and like watched the sunset, and then went cliff jumping and like doing all kinds of shit. Yeah, it was crazy. They have a nightclub. They have great food, drinks. They're open. Everything's open till 5 a.m. Like, it's a party place in Jamaica. So if young people went there, they would love it. The one thing that I was thinking in my mind is, was it tame because it was older people? Would it have been different if it was younger drunk guys? That's the one thing. But, you know, you never know. So
Totally.
And you would have never known about this if you wouldn't have taken the leap.
Good for you.
And started your own thing, and you're totally succeeding at it.
Thank
Not
you.
only are you writing a book right now, you have the website, you're starting a podcast.
I am.
Where can people find that?
So the Problem with Dating After Dark is going to be on this new app called Bumpers. It's also going to be on Google Play and iTunes, and I'm going to probably post it, have like a link on theproblemwithdating.com with a list of all the episodes for people. But I'm really excited about it because right now my main form of expression, I guess you would call it, is writing. So I write articles. But I love to talk to people, and I have these amazing conversations with the people in my life all the time. And there is a different sense of my personality that comes out in conversation. So in my writing, I'm pretty positive and like upbeat, and even if they're sad, I'm like, oh, but we can pull through, which is true. I do believe that. But I'm also very crude and uncensored and perverted, and I want that side of me to show too, because those are genuine conversations, especially when it revolves around dating. So I'm trying to create this kind of like, not as crazy as Howard Stern, but one of those types of shows where you can literally say whatever you want to say. We can talk about the real shit and just have it out there for people to listen, because I know these conversations are happening, yet people always feel like they're the only ones in it. And so it's a much greater conversation. So I'm excited about that.
Well,
That's awesome.
so great of you for making it happen.
Thank you.
Where can the people follow along with you?
Oh, so many places. So you can read my stuff at theproblemwithdating.com. You can follow us on social across the board at probwithdating. And you can follow like Mimi on Instagram at, what is it? At Bruna with 5 A's. So BRUNAAAA.
Love it. Love it.
Well, thank you so much for stopping by.
I am so inspired because I feel like I have someone that can relate to me and I can relate to you. This is great. And I'm so excited to read. Like, I'm going home tonight and reading all of your
let
articles.
me know what you think.
Oh, I will, girl.
I love your vulnerability and your realness.
Thank you.
You're
so
very real. And you're very
Thank you.
connected to
Refreshing.
yourself as well. And I'm like,
I'm
admire
trying.
that. No, I really admire
It's
that.
great.
I'm like,
Thank you.
well, shit, I need to take time for myself now, too.
Yeah.
Girl, you're the best. And
Yes.
already
Thank
I
you.
want you on another episode. So, we'll have you on again soon.
Yeah.
Yes, let's do it.
Okay.
I'm down.
Thanks for joining
guys.
us.
Thank
Have
you.
a good day.
Bye.
Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at BossPleasePod. And don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe on iTunes. Navigate the path to your best self with us, because bossing together is always better.